I have thoughts like this could be different. It could not be working, blah, 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 blah. And then people join. And I'm like, fuck, it's always working. But what doesn't change is the commitment that I have. What doesn't change is how I am devoted to selling that offer and devoted to keeping the strategy and devoted to whatever I said I was going to fucking do, no matter how I feel and no matter what thoughts are happening.
Welcome to Did I Stutter with Jill Perrick. And yeah, I probably did because I have a stuttering disability. But I'm also a multiple six-figure business and mindset coach who's here to help you shut down the mindfuckery of imposter syndrome, self-doubt, and playing the nice girl in your content so you and your brand can blow the fuck up and so you can stack the motherfucking cash. I'm holding absolutely nothing back. We're talking marketing, messaging, mindset, subconscious healing, nervous system regulation, and how to do it all even with raging anxiety, ADHD, and just being a fucking human. If fuck is one of your favorite words and nothing can get in between you, your iced coffee, or the work that you're here to do, I'm your girl. Let's dive in.
If you are ready to go into the rest of the year and make so much fucking money and compound all of your efforts and just truly blow up in 2026, this is the hardest thing that you'll ever do. And honestly, I think that this is the hardest thing about business in general, but it is so necessary to master if you want to make fuck tons of money. And that is to not deal with silence emotionally, to allow things to look like they're not happening with the belief that they always fucking are. And the reason why this is so hard is because it is so normal and natural to use the evidence and the data that we have collected to decide how things are going, to understand the trajectory of our lives or what path we're taking or if things are working out or if they're not. Take, for example, losing weight. Okay. And I am somebody who, first of all, I grew up in the late 1990s and the early 2000s where thin culture was rampant. And I spent a lot of my teenage years thinking like, I'm not skinny enough. I need to be skinnier. Same with my early 20s. And it's even carried into my 30s. And something that was so hard for me that I realized could also be a symptom of also having ADHD. But something that was so hard for me was like working out and eating good, eating clean, doing all of the things and not seeing immediate results. Like I was so bad at being like, okay, it's clearly not working when I didn't give it a chance to work. And even though this is so obvious that obviously you're going to have to eat clean and work out and do all of the things in order to achieve the physique that you want, that is so obvious, just like it is so obvious that you have to show up consistently and compound your results. And if you turn around and you try and say, why haven't I signed a client yet? I've been showing up for 2 weeks. Everybody's going to fucking laugh in your face because like the real ones know, the people who are getting the results, they will all tell you, you have to do this without a timeline. You have to do this with consistency and devotion until it works. And the hardest part about it is you know that consciously and you know it logically. And I'm not talking about showing up consistently. Like the people who I'm really speaking to, they do show up consistently and they do sell and they show up and they understand that like, yeah, like if I'm going to make this happen, I'm going to do it. But where I used to get very caught up and where I see a lot of my clients get caught up and sometimes I will fall victim to it before I snap myself up back into place is the silence, is the uncertainty. It happened even as recently as I want to say like a month ago, because I know that I record in advance for the podcast and I know I'm going to drop this into my free channel and I'm going to drop it on the podcast too. I'm currently playing tug of war with Ruby because she needs to be around me 24/7. Her and Hugo. Hugo has his little spot downstairs on the couch because he's a grumpy old man. But Ruby wants to be with her mommy all the time. So I'm throwing her toy for her if that's what you're hearing in the background. But I was selling my messaging mini mind high ticket hottie, and I'm sure I'll even create an episode on that because like the whole concept of me doing mini offers is because like I want to bring that value to the clients that I'm already working with. I want to take something that I know they're struggling with, that I know that they need to work through, and I want to create this separate opportunity so I'm not just doing it inside of the Real Deal or I'm not just doing it for my one-to-one clients. I'm doing it for all of the clients that I'm working with and they get that for free, but then it's also an opportunity to, you know, bring people in, to bring in clients. And the thing about constantly talking about new things and new offers is there's always that period of time where nobody has signed up yet. And the longer I do this, the more comfortable I am with like moving extremely quickly and dropping it regardless, because I know it's just a matter of time before somebody joins. And sometimes, depending on what I'm charging, depending on the topic, people take either a short time to join or a long time to join, or they join as it's happening. And that was actually a circumstance for High Ticket Hottie. I had 2 clients that I signed over the course of the launch, and that was totally fine with me because I also knew that I would be working with multiple clients inside of that container who already were in the Real Deal Mastermind and were already a one-to-one client. So I signed these 2 people, and then I signed somebody halfway through the container. But before I signed those first 2 people, there was a very quiet period for like a week and a bit. Like, it was very quiet before I signed 2 people. And I am always reminded whenever I sell anything at all, I'm like, this is the difficult part, where if people do not have the resiliency, the experience, or the understanding of how marketing really works, like, this is why people give up. It's why in the beginning of growing the business, I would sell an offer for 2 days and then I would be like, it's not working, and there have been so many things that I look back on over the course of the whole time I've had the business, which is like 8 years now. And there have been offers that I'm like, I just wish I would have fucking seen that through. Or I wish that I wouldn't have been affected by that flopped launch, even if I had only signed 2 or 3 clients, or if I signed like a single client and then I was like, well, because I only signed a single client, this means that this offer is not good, so I'm going to drop it. There are tons of things that I did that were just an emotional reaction to the rejection that I felt in the silence, and learning how to deal with the silence and not, like, genuinely not making it mean anything. It is the hardest thing you will do in your business. But when you can do it, and I don't mean that you don't even have a thought about the silence, because I have tons of thoughts all of the time. I have too many thoughts happening in this head all of the time. But if your behavior changes because of the thoughts, that's what you need to lock the fuck down. I have a lot of really intelligent, incredible clients, and the skill is to not ignore every negative thought you have. The skill is to not be rid of the uncomfortable feelings, because discomfort, uncertainty, negative thoughts, self-doubt, sometimes even imposter syndrome, all of these things are very much a part of who I am. Like I am just a naturally skeptical, critical, self-judgmental person. And it wasn't until I realized that, like, but that's not the problem. It's not a problem that, like, I have these thoughts, but they become a problem if I act on them. They become a problem if I make the discomfort mean I shouldn't go after this. I shouldn't do this. This isn't for me. That's when it becomes a problem. But people try to solve for the discomfort. They try to solve for the uncertainty because they just are looking to feel okay. But running a business, your emotional state does not come first. You have to think more neutrally and more objectively, and you can have your heart in your business, and you absolutely should, but your decisions shouldn't be made from negative emotion of like, I'm not good enough, or this isn't working, or even though I agreed that I was going to sell this offer, deliver this offer, I'm having a moment where I feel bored, or I feel like nobody cares and it must really not be that good, so I'm gonna switch up everything I'm doing because of the response that I'm not getting, because you're interpreting the silence or the uncertainty as something bad instead of realizing this is marketing. And this is a big part of having an online business, is there are going to be tons of days where you feel like you're speaking into the void. There are going to be tons of days where you're like, okay, I'm showing up to sell my offer again. Nobody's bought it in like a couple of days. And I have to still show up with the same conviction and the same certainty. And a lot of people don't have that resilience. A lot of people don't have that confidence in themselves and that willingness to keep it going and to see themselves through, because they would rather feel certain. They would rather know for certain what's going to happen. And if they change their behavior, if they stop showing up, or if they stop selling that offer, or if they pivot, or if they lower the rate, or if they think of a new idea and they get the hit of dopamine that they think that they thought of the new idea, then they can feel more comfortable. But this is what really fucks people up, is making the silence mean something. Making the silence mean something bad. But every time you show up and sell your offer, every time you talk about it with conviction and with power, and you think you're being annoying, or you think they've seen this 10 times before. No, they haven't. And even if they have, they don't give a fuck half as much as you do. And they are actually getting closer and closer to joining, because it's getting closer and closer to their awareness the more times that they see it. And they're thinking about it. They're convincing themselves more and more. And You can't make it mean anything else other than it's working. It's always working. And being able to hold yourself through the uncertainty and through the silence is a skill that nobody will be able to take away from you. And you will be so fucking rich this year, and you will make so much money when you learn how to sit in the discomfort of, I don't know what's going to happen, and shit feels quiet, especially now with like Instagram and the algorithm and everything. Like, it's just so shit. But like, it doesn't matter because engagement doesn't equate to sales, and followers don't equate to sales. I have multiple clients that have more followers than me, but they come to me and I'm making more. There are people that I've coached that have like 50,000 fucking followers, but they can't monetize their audience whatsoever. So it doesn't necessarily mean anything when shit is silent, when things are quiet, when you've sold your offer for the last 6 or 7 days and nobody has bought. And of course, there's things you can do with the messaging, the positioning, like, and that's why you're coached. Like, that's why you have support around those things, but nobody will be able to coach you through the fact that you have to be okay with the silence and the uncertainty. You can't rely on strategy to save you from that. That has to come from your inner self-concept. It has to come from how you view yourself, and you know in your bones, I'm going to be successful. I'm going to make so much money. Things are happening that I don't even know are happening. And having this relationship with uncertainty is going to change your fucking life and business forever. It was so hilarious because I was in the kitchen this morning with my husband, who is home still because he has an injury. And I can't remember what we were talking about, but I said something about uncertainty and he's like, I hate uncertainty. And I was like, you'd be a terrible entrepreneur. He's like, I know. Because that is the game, is you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't know that somebody can slide into your DMs tomorrow and sign up for your highest ticket one-to-one coaching package tomorrow. And you could get 10K deposited into your account. There have been so many times where I have woken up and been like, hey, I want to join the Real Deal Mastermind, or I want to join this group, or I launched an offer on Monday of this week. I literally created the checkout page, wrote the copy for it, and I sold it to I sent an email and I dropped it into the free channel, and somebody bought right away. And I was like, damn, this is so cool. It's just so cool because like, I didn't even expect that sale, and now I have a sale. And even if it was $1, even if it was $55 or $1,000 or $10,000, I'm always blown away by the immediacy of it, and how it doesn't exist 1 second and it exists the next. How somebody's DM saying, I'm ready to work with you, and then I receive thousands of dollars, like that didn't exist a second before that. And that is fucking magical. And it all comes from the thoughts that I've had and how I'm able to hold uncertainty so much, even when my thoughts are screaming at me, even when I'm like, I don't know if this is going to work out, even when I'm selling an offer and I haven't heard a peep from anyone in days. And I'm like, okay, well, this is the same old rodeo. And even though I have thoughts like this could be different, it could not be working, blah, 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 blah. And then people join and I'm like, fuck, it's always working. But what doesn't change is the commitment that I have. What doesn't change is how I am devoted to selling that offer, and devoted to keeping the strategy, and devoted to whatever I said I was going to fucking do, no matter how I feel and no matter what thoughts are happening. I may not always be like 100% confident, but I have insane courage, and I am going to do the thing even if I'm scared shitless, because I have so much experience now that uncertainty is just the name of the game. And when you can get really comfortable with things being uncertain and you not having a path forward, and instead you're blazing the path and being okay with uncertainty, while at the same time still having a strategy, still having a plan, and going full fucking force regardless, like, you are going to make so much money this year. You're going to make so much money this year. I swear to you, you will, if you just stop bitching and complaining about silence, because it actually doesn't mean anything. I had a reel that came out the other day, and it was about how people will rage bait you with content that says something like, if you don't have any DMs, there's something fucking wrong with you. And I have had clients who say this shit to me because they see it online, or somebody has told them, yep, if you're not getting DMs or any interest, like, something's wrong. But they say that shit so you buy their shit. They say that shit so you are outsourcing your self-trust to a fucking DM, where you could have hundreds of DMs and you could be facilitating hundreds of conversations and none of them could convert at all. Whereas when I get a DM, it's somebody who's like, send me the link. When I get a notification, it's somebody that has already purchased the thing and I haven't had to have a single conversation with them at all, because I know it's not about having fucking conversations. It's up to me and the positioning that I'm doing and how I'm communicating in my content, in my podcast, in the free channel, in all of the things. Like, that is the responsibility that I have. And I also speak to clients in the way that when they're ready to come in, they do. And they're not fucking me around for a half-hour fucking conversation. And sometimes, you know, that's happened as recently as like a couple of weeks ago, and it wasn't a good fit. And we had this long, drawn out conversation, and I was thinking to myself, like, this is not actually the standard at all. And I'm entertaining it. And I had to say, I don't think that this is a good fit. So uncertainty needs to be your best friend, and you need to realize that you are making the silence mean so much about you. And if you just shut the fuck up, actually, if you didn't shut the fuck up, if you kept showing up and selling and doing the thing anyways and getting coached and regulated your fucking nervous system and calmed down and just focused on what am I devoted to, who am I becoming, what are the goals that I have, and you said fuck the data and the evidence and all of the things that tell me it's not working, and instead just delusionally believe that it is and that it's always working, you'll make so much fucking money this year and you won't even recognize yourself. You won't even recognize yourself. This is something that my clients really benefit from joining a long-term container like the Real Deal Mastermind, because they are being supported on our weekly calls in Telegram 2 times a week, consistently being reminded of who the fuck they are, consistently being reminded of the fact that like the silence doesn't mean anything. How can we change how you're communicating this? How can we implement this strategy? How can we stay devoted to the goals that you have for yourself this year and stay focused on that and regulate their nervous systems and not let the pesky thoughts or the shitty self-concept or anything else that is actually standing in their way continue to stand in their way. And they build 10K to 20K cash months because they are sturdy in their self-concept and in who they fucking believe they are, and they actually stick with the strategies and the funnels and all of the things that we put in place so they can sign the clients, make more money, hold it, and actually build the business that they say that they want. This is all happening inside of the Real Deal Mastermind. When you know that you are ready to be held to a higher standard, you are ready to stack those 10K to 20K cash months, and you want to do it with me by your side, the Real Deal is going to be the place to do it. So head to the show notes and check out the sales page. Send me a DM when you are ready to start the conversation. I love you guys, and I'll see you next week.